The enigmatic life of Padre Pio, a journey into the mysteries of faith. Imagine a man whose life was so intertwined with the divine that miracles became almost routine. A man whose struggles and triumphs reflected the deepest mysteries of faith. But who was this man, and how did he become a beacon of hope for millions around the world? The beginnings, a child marked by destiny. In a small village in southern Italy, on May 25th, 1887, a child was born to peasant farmers. His name was Francesco Forgione, but the world would come to know him as Padre Pio. From a young age, there were signs that Francesco was no ordinary child. But could anyone have predicted the extraordinary path that lay before him? As a child, Francesco was often found in prayer, his tiny hands clasped tightly as he whispered words of devotion. His parents noticed that he spoke of seeing heavenly visions and conversing with Jesus and Mary. Was it simply the imagination of a devout child? Or was there something more profound at play? A calling beyond comprehension. At the age of 15, Francesco entered the Capuchin order, taking the name Pio in honor of Pope St. Pius V. But what drove this young boy to choose a life of such intense devotion? Was it a calling he could not resist? Or was it the weight of destiny pressing upon him? As Padre Pio progressed in his spiritual journey, the signs of his sanctity became impossible to ignore. He began experiencing the stigmata, wounds on his hands, feet, and side that mirrored those of Christ crucified. But how does one explain such a phenomenon? Was it a miraculous gift or a burden too heavy to bear? The stigmata, a blessing or a curse? The appearance of the stigmata in Padre Pio's life marked a turning point, not just for him, but for those around him. Imagine the shock, the awe, the skepticism that must have greeted this man bearing the wounds of Christ. How did he cope with the scrutiny? How did he balance the adulation of the faithful with the doubts of the skeptics? For Padre Pio, the stigmata were both a physical and spiritual trial. He suffered immense pain, yet he bore it with a serenity that baffled those who witnessed it. But what was the purpose of this suffering? Was it a test of his faith, a means of drawing him closer to Christ, or something else entirely? Miracles in San Giovanni Rotondo. Word of Padre Pio's stigmata spread like wildfire, drawing pilgrims from all corners of the globe to the small town of San Giovanni Rotondo. People came seeking miracles, and they found them. But what was it about Padre Pio that made miracles seem so commonplace? There are countless stories of the blind receiving sight, the lame walking, and the sick being healed. Could it be that Padre Pio was a conduit for divine power? Or was there something about his faith that made the impossible possible? Among the many miracles attributed to Padre Pio, one stands out: the ability to be in two places at once, a phenomenon known as bilocation. But is such a thing even possible? How could one man be seen in two different locations at the same time? The battle with darkness, spiritual warfare. Padre Pio's life was not just one of miracles and devotion. It was also a battlefield. But who was the enemy he fought so fiercely? Padre Pio spoke often of his battles with Satan, describing how the devil would physically and mentally torment him, attempting to break his spirit. But why would the forces of darkness target a humble friar in a remote Italian village? Was it because of the souls he was saving? Despite the relentless attacks, Padre Pio remained steadfast in his faith, offering his suffering for the salvation of others. But how did he maintain such strength? What was the source of his unshakable resolve? Confessor and spiritual guide, the weight of souls. Perhaps one of the most remarkable aspects of Padre Pio's ministry was his role as a confessor. Thousands flocked to him, seeking absolution and guidance. But what made his confessions so powerful? Was it his ability to see into the hearts of those who knelt before him? Many who went to confession with Padre Pio reported that he seemed to know their sins before they even spoke. But how could this be? Was it a divine gift? Or was Padre Pio simply attuned to the human soul in a way few others could comprehend? Padre Pio's confessional became a place of deep transformation, where countless souls found peace and reconciliation. But what was it about Padre Pio that drew so many to him? Was it his humility, his holiness, or something more mysterious? The legacy of a saint, a life that continues to inspire. On September 23, 1968, Padre Pio passed from this world, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire millions. Asterisk, but the legacy continues. Padre Pio's influence today. Even today, Padre Pio's legacy lives on, touching lives across the globe. His shrine in San Giovanni Rotondo remains one of the most visited pilgrimage sites in the world. But what is it that draws so many people to this humble friar's resting place? Is it the hope of encountering the miraculous? Or is it a desire to connect with a faith that transcends time and space? Countless people continue to share stories of prayers answered through Padre Pio's intercession. Some speak of physical healings, others of emotional and spiritual transformations. But what is it about Padre Pio that makes him such a powerful intercessor? Is it his deep connection with the divine, or is it his unwavering dedication to the souls who seek his help? A call to faith and reflection. As we conclude this journey into the life of Padre Pio, we are left with a powerful reminder. Faith is not just about the miracles we see, but about the trust we place in God, even when the road is difficult and the answers are unclear. But how do we cultivate such a faith in our own lives? Padre Pio's life was a testament to the power of prayer, the importance of perseverance, and the strength that comes from complete surrender to God's will. But are we willing to follow his example? Are we ready to embrace the challenges of our spiritual journey with the same courage and devotion that he did? Final thoughts. The eternal echo of Padre Pio's life. Padre Pio once said, "Pray, hope, and don't worry. Worry is useless. God is merciful and will hear your prayer." These words encapsulate the essence of his life. A life lived in constant communion with God, a life that continues to inspire and challenge us today. As you reflect on Padre Pio's legacy, consider how his teachings can be applied to your own life. What can you learn from his example? How can you deepen your own relationship with God? In the end, the story of Padre Pio is not just about the miracles or the stigmata. It's about the faith that made those miracles possible. It's about a life lived in total trust in God's plan, no matter how mysterious or challenging that plan might be. And so, as we close this chapter on Padre Pio, the question remains, how will his life inspire yours? Will you allow his example to lead you closer to God, to deepen your faith, and to guide you on your own spiritual journey? The choice is yours, but the invitation is clear. Padre Pio's life is a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of faith, and a reminder that with God, all things are possible. So, will you pray, hope, and trust just as Padre Pio did? Will you take his words to heart and allow them to transform your life? The answer, like the journey, is in your hands.